So I'm in my late 20s, have held multiple corporate jobs in finance, and consider myself to be in a relatively good spot with money. Now, nothing I do financially is that sophisticated, but there are some basic rules and lessons that I followed consistently to get ahead. In this video, I'll share these money lessons that have had a big impact on my life and could do the same for you. Number one is to pay yourself first. This strategy is all about forming a habit for whenever you get paid. The idea is that when possible, the first thing you should do after getting your paycheck is to put money into either a savings account or into your retirement account. Now, one-size-fits-all approaches to personal finance can be challenging, but a typical rule of thumb is to try to contribute 10 to 15% to retirement. If you're closer to the retirement age or are looking to retire early, this 10 to 15% amount may need to be increased, so I do recommend speaking with a financial advisor if possible. With the whole concept of paying yourself first, automation is key. Most employers will allow you to automatically take a portion of your paycheck and put it directly into your retirement account. This process helps set you up for your financial future and limits the amount of money you can spend on unnecessary things. Next up is to keep an emergency fund. I mentioned this in other videos, but the freedom I feel from knowing that I have enough money to cover any major life emergencies is unmatched. For those who are unaware, an emergency fund is simply money that you have set aside for unplanned life events. Many times things will come up like house repairs, auto repairs, or different medical bills that are unexpected in life. The typical rule of thumb is to try to keep 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly expenses in this emergency fund. To calculate what you need to survive for this 3 to 6 month period, you can simply take your monthly expenses, which could be things like rent, food, transportation, or even fun. Multiply that out by 3 to 6, and that's the number you need in your emergency fund. I recommend keeping these savings in an account like an HYSA, where you can receive interest and easily access the money if needed. In my own life, since I'm extremely risk averse, I strive to keep a 12-month emergency fund in an HYSA. This again just gives me more comfort in my day-to-day life, knowing I can cover any of these emergencies. Number 3 is to use HYSAs. For those who do not know, this stands for High Yield Savings Account. I first opened a Marcus by Goldman Sachs account in 2019 and really haven't looked back since. I remember sitting on the train coming home from work and seeing a Marcus advertisement. They were basically just calling out the high APY they offered. I think at the time it was like 2%, and I just remember comparing this with the 0.05% I was making at my current bank, and making the switch was really a no-brainer. High-level HYSAs or high-yield savings accounts are typically online-only offerings that are used as an alternative to the traditional brick-and-mortar bank. The idea is that since these accounts are usually online-only, these banks have less money to spend on overhead to maintain physical branches, and they can pay you more interest as a consumer. There are multiple videos on this channel reviewing some of the top options. These are always safe and secure as they're FDIC insured. Also, for even more finance tips, make sure to click the link in the description to go to feasiblecreative.com. The tips thus far in this video have really been all about saving, but now let's look at some spending strategies. Number 4 is to use credit cards responsibly. I do not suggest using credit cards if you're unable to pay off your bill in full every single month. Instead, you should stick with cash or paying with debit cards. Reason being is building credit card debt with a high APR can virtually destroy your personal finances. In all honesty, I'm not the type to have 20 cards in my wallet, but there are a few that I do use routinely. For example, I use a no annual fee cashback credit card that pays me 5% back every time I buy groceries. Every month I know I'm going to be buying groceries, so I might as well use this card and get some cash back without really doing anything differently. Now, mathematically, if I spend $300 per month, I'll earn about $200 per year just on groceries. This is something in the past I never would have gotten, but I know I'm already spending the money, which is why using the credit card really makes sense. Next is to buy quality items. For certain material items, I don't mind spending a little bit more upfront for higher quality. Some people suggest to never cheap out on things that separate you from the ground. For example, with shoes, I tend to buy relatively expensive running shoes. I spend a little bit more for these shoes because I know I can wear them all day without having any feet pain. For my car, I recently bought a certified pre-owned vehicle. Nothing too crazy, but it does have a leather interior, and it's a brand that I trust that will hold up for many years to come. And in the past, I probably would have gotten something that has more miles, something that's a little bit older. But nowadays, I know that if I buy something that's quality, it'll likely need less repairs, and I'll feel more confident driving it. From a financial perspective, again, the idea is that these items are less likely to break down easily, which in turn means you have to replace that item less often. Now, although I do like buying quality items from time to time, this next tip can really help you save money in the long run. Number 6 is always look for deals. No matter how much money I make in life, I plan to always seek out deals. For this reason, I frequent stores like Ollie's, Grocery Outlet, and Gabe's. Now, could I go to regular stores and buy normal items? Yes, but I do kind of enjoy finding these deals, and I also recognize that consistently doing this over time can have a positive financial impact. Now, going back to the previous tip, for certain things, I really never sacrifice quality to simply get a lower price. Still though, you can often find sale items and deals for wherever you shop. Okay, so we've covered saving and spending, but how about ways to make more money? The next step is to find a side hustle. As tough as it might be to admit, simply having an average paying job is probably not enough to make ends meet. For this reason, starting a side hustle can be a great way to bring in a little bit more money. Whatever you choose doesn't have to be something that brings in 6 figures per year, but I think finding something that can bring in an extra $10,000 per year is realistic. Assuming you're working 40 to 50 hours per week at your day job, you can still more than likely find 10 hours per week to contribute to this side hustle. In my own life, I've been graphic design freelancing for over a decade. My clients range from content creators to small and medium-sized businesses. More recently, I've started making some money from YouTube through AdSense and also affiliate income. I think the key is to find something that you have a talent or interest in, and ideally something that's a little bit unique. I actually have some friends that started a junk removal business. They basically just bought a truck and go into people's homes and take out different items that they want to have recycled and get paid for it. This idea is really something I probably would have never thought of, but your own unique experiences can help you find the right niche for you. So before jumping into something that's super saturated, I do recommend doing some brainstorming and finding something that people will hire you to do. If you're interested, you can check out this video where I review some realistic side hustles. I've had success doing these in my own life, so I highly recommend checking it out. Last, we have keep researching personal finance. While I consider myself to have a solid understanding of personal finance, I can easily admit that there are people out there that know more than I do. For this reason, I'm always reading different articles and watching videos to get a better grasp on certain concepts and strategies. One thing to note is that even the best financial advisor in the world could have some concepts that don't align fully with your own life. The thing with finance is one-size-fits-all approaches rarely work. This is why it's important to do your own research as well and really understand what fits into your own life. Of course, you don't have to read Wall Street Journal every morning or write any research papers, but I think it's great when people have a basic understanding of things like retirement investing and even just budgeting. Let me know your thoughts on this list and any others that you follow in your own life. Also, really quick, to continue to learn more about personal finance, make sure to watch this video as we cover some of the top pros and cons of HYSAs.